Krishna dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Guru Maharaj. I have no qualification to speak on this high subject of Srimad Bhagavatam. Whatever I could speak is just the mercy of Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, and other Vaishnavas who spoke on this subject matter before. I seek blessings of all the Vaishnavas, dear Guru Maharaj, and Srila Prabhupada, and our deity Shri Nitai Gaurchan, so that I can speak something which is beneficial to everyone and bring some transformation for me. So that we'll recite the prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकीम्। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 32, titled Entanglement in Fruitive Activities, text 19. Recite the verse. Nyunam daivena vihata ye chachuta katha sudham hitva shunvanti asatkataha purisham iva vidbhujaha. Synonyms. Nyunam, certainly. Daivena, by the order of the Lord. With vihataha, condemned. Ye, those who. Cha, also. Achyuta, of the infallible Lord. Katha, stories. Sudham, nectar. Hitva, having given up. Shrinvanti, they hear. Asadgataha, stories about materialistic persons. Purisham, stool. Iva, like. Vidbhujaha, stool eaters, hogs. Translation. Such persons are condemned by the supreme order of the Lord. Such persons are condemned by the supreme order of the Lord because they are averse to the nectar of the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are compared to stool-eating hogs. They give up hearing the transcendental activities of the Lord and indulge in hearing of the abominable activities of the materialistic persons. Purport by His Divine Grace. Yasi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So everyone is addicted to hearing of the activities of another person, whether a politician or a rich man or an imaginary character whose activities are created in a novel. There are so many nonsensical literatures, stories, and books of speculative philosophy. Materialistic persons are very interested in reading such literature, but when they are pressured with genuine books of knowledge like Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Purana, or other scriptures of the world, such as the Bible and Quran, they are not interested. These persons are condemned by the Supreme Order as such. No, sorry. These persons are condemned by the Supreme Order as much as a hog is condemned. The hog is interested in eating stool. If the hog is offered some nice preparation made of condensed milk or ghee, he won't like it. He won't like it. He would prefer obnoxious, bad smelling stool, which he finds very relishable. Materialistic persons are considered condemned because they are interested in hellish activities and not in transcendental activities. The message of the Lord's activities is nectar, and besides that, the message of the Lord's activities is nectar. And besides that message, any information in which we may be interested is actually hellish. So I think we are reading these instructions of Lord Kapila to Devahuti for quite some time, almost I think around 8 or 9 chapters, I think. So after Kadam Muni left to forest for renunciation, taking permission from Kapila Dev, and Kapila Dev started instructing her mother Devahuti on the process of bhakti as part of the conversation. So originally Devahuti asks Kapila to clear the aham mameti conception. And then as part of that whole explanation, like Kapil starts explaining the yoga process, like like jnana, dhyana, and bhakti. And also he emphasizes on the importance of the bhakti because bhakti includes both jnana and dhyana also. And after that, like then Mother Devahuti asked the process of so yeah, Mother Devahuti wanted to hear more about bhakti. I should be taking up that uh, process. As part of it, like she poses more questions, and as one of it is like explain in detail the path of bhakti as it is the root cause of jnana or sankhya explained earlier, and is end of all philosophical systems. Like even when we take up jnana or sankhya, still someone who is following sincerely those two would end up in the process of bhakti. And the next one, she asks about the time and why people fear about time, and then they perform the pious activities. And then the process of birth and death. That's also one of the things people fear of it and then try to get detached. So then Lord Kapila explained the bhakti process in different modes. Bhakti in tamasic, uh, which is like always like intentions of envy, pride, violence, and anger, and no compassion at all. And people who are in the passion, so they have like a lot of desires for the material opulences, enjoyments, and fame, and so desires for objects other than Lord is in passion. And then the mode of goodness, which is like desires to free himself from karma and offers fruits, work to the Lord, and worship Lord as duty, and desires for liberation. So, and then in the next chapter, he explained about the results of the fruitive activities, where in that chapter, he explained more of life and death of a materialist person, and then what happens or what the soul experiences uh, post death, like the traveling path of the soul, and what experiences the soul can get to it. And then the next chapter, after realizing, going through all of it, like the soul realizes, and then Kapil Dev started explaining about the birth, process of birth, the jiva, the thing, and how the jiva prays in the mother's womb for the liberation. And coming to the current chapter, so these were like he's explaining in detail about our the jiva's entanglements with the fruitive activities. So in the first section, uh, he explained about sakama karma, the people who are performing sakama karma, like means doing the prescribed duties, but with the attachment to the fruits of their activities, and they wanted to enjoy their fruitive results than giving them back to the Lord. And those people will reach to the moon planet, and then they'll enjoy the drinking somarasa there, and then again they come back to the planet Earth. So and then the next one, he explained about the Nishkama Karma, who are like the devotees who are in the mode of goodness. They do not have any attachment to the fruitive results. They give those results to the Lord, and they'll take the path of sun, and then they'll reach to the Lord. And the third one, he was talking about Hiranyagarbha worshippers, or the worshippers who are like yogis, like who took up the Ashtanga Yoga process. With that, they'll reach Brahmaloka, and but they do not get liberation, as only Krishna, Supreme Lord, can grant the liberation, and Brahma cannot. So they have to stay in the Brahmaloka until end of the Brahma's lifetime. And even when the creation happens, they'll come back into their original position where they are. So, and then the next section where Lord Kapila is talking in detail about the drawbacks of people who are following the Sakama Karma. And so, because since they are attached to the objects of the world and perform prescribed duties perfectly in order to enjoy the fruits of these activities, and in order to do the things like with their mind attached to the household affairs, so they pray to forefathers, and they pray to demigods and all things for for a better life than praying for Krishna prema or uh, devotional service. So in the current text, where Kapil Dev is comparing all those people who are attached to these material activities with no interest to the Lord as the hogs or the stool eaters, because they do not have any interest in Krishna Katha. Instead, they are interested in Asat Katha. So, yeah, so I came across one story and I felt like it seems uh, it fits well into this idea of like Krishna Katha, Rasat Katha. So I'll just say like once there was one village which was nestled between two hills and lush green, and which has like two wells, and one well is like very ancient, sacred, and filled with clear water and tasted like nectar, and all elders said it was a gift from the heavenly planets. Whoever drank the water from it refreshed, peaceful, and joyful. And the second one is a newer man-made well, which is somewhere away from it in the marketplace within the town. Its water is very cloudy, dirty, and smelled awful. The water taste was also so bad that even animals or anyone, everyone was avoiding it. So everyone used to drink it from the first well, and then they're very happy and they didn't have any issues. So they were living happily. But suddenly, one day, one traveling merchant comes into the village and sees this nice well built within the village, but no one is drinking any water from it. So he gets the idea of making a business out of it. So he gets the water, packages nicely, and tries to sell it to the villagers. In the first time when he started selling, so villagers used to think, why would someone want to drink this bad water? So we don't want to drink it. So they used to avoid the merchant. And after some times, then merchant thinks like somehow I need to sell this water and make money. So then he started giving samples of the water for drinking, and then he used to say, "Try this exciting new water. It's very flavorful, and it generates thrill." And then uh, it used to tempt them. So then suddenly. Uh, some curious villagers thought, "Oh, okay, he's giving free of cost, so let's try it." And then they start trying it. So then started encouraging the people to drink more of that water, and then people start accustomed to it. And by looking at the people who are drinking, so children started drinking the same water, and after some times everyone started feeling sick. But elders were start suggesting these others to villagers to not to drink from that well because it's not good. So but still people were so attached to it, so they are not able to give up those things. Once then, as the time going by, so doctor start saying like so many villages are getting fell sick, and he was suggesting the elders or the leaders of the village to somehow we need to make them stop drinking that water so that they can get better. In the meantime, so there's one sage traveling by, sees the distress in the village, and then he inquires from the elders like what's going on in the village. So then they explain the situation. So then the sage or the saintly person devised a plan, and he started uh, attracting the young children by telling nice, good moral stories, uh, and stories about Krishna and many things uh, to attract them. But the condition was that they need to drink 1 cup of water, so then they'll get one story. So, like that, slowly, then the sage started attracting more villagers, and then more people are coming in, and she started telling more stories, and people started drinking from the first water, first well, where it is healing powers. And then slowly, everyone started getting better, and then they lost the taste for that bad thing, uh, water from the bad well, and then they all become very good again. So when we compare this thing, so we can see that like the nectar in the well is Krishna Katha and are the stories of the Lord, which are very enriching, and the other thing like where Asat Kadar, the worldly gossips, and are nowhere. It's like really very uh, good, or sometimes a lot of times it might bring in the distress or disturbed mind and disturbs the mind. So why do we call Krishna Katha as nectar? Like, and we all would have experienced in our lives sometime or the other, like we practice Krishna consciousness or not. Uh, Most of us are aware of the spirituality to some level. So many times people do go to temples when they're in distress. As it explained in the Bhagavad Gita, that verse, like 4 kinds of people who approaches Krishna. Uh, so people who wanted wealth or who are in distress and who wanted more knowledge, or just inquisitive people. So so we all know that like when we go and stay in the temple, like we feel like more peaceful, and sometimes when we listen to the lectures, it enlightens our knowledge, and it, by hearing continuously, it purifies us. And the same thing, like Prabhupada also used to say, that if one simply hears sincerely, he can become perfect in one lifetime. We don't have to wait. Same thing, like means what are Asat Katha. So like basically all the gossips, news of political fights, celebrity scandals, TV dramas. These are very interesting to hear, and we might get curious, but sometimes these are okay, but many times these would bring in disturbance in the mind, and it will become very fickle and not able to concentrate on other things, and many things then happen. So, because why these are called asat is like these are all like temporary, so they'll be here today and they'll go tomorrow, and doesn't bring any real peace to oneself. So, and same thing about these worldly stories, like what Prabhupada said, like materialistic people talk so much nonsense, but if you ask them to talk about Krishna for 1 minute, they say like, I do not have any time. So with this verse, actually, Kapila comparing these worldly affairs to are people who are involved in the worldly affairs to the hogs. It's like a stool eating hogs. That's very, I feel it's a very harsh comparison. That's because it literally contaminates one's mind who are involved in it, and one's intelligence, the desires, and the consciousness. So, and I was reading through and I found like there's some research which shows it looks like in an average, people spend like 3 hours or so on the political talk shows and listening about the politics and all the things. But when we ask them, so they say like, "Oh, I do not have any time for hearing Bhagavatam." Maybe I'm one of them actually. But by frequently consuming this worldly news, worldly events, the mind becomes disturbed and entangled in unnecessary anxiety or disturbed. But whereas listening to Krishna Katha or Srimad Bhagavatam, which nourishes the mind, and sometimes it inspires one, and same thing like people spend on the reels, YouTube shorts or anything like minimum 45 minutes to an hour, but do not have any time for chanting. Again, it's the same thing. One might feel free of disturbances in life by watching the reels, whereas chanting Mahamantra could bring in the never-ending peace to the mind. Again, all these reels and are like just an addiction, like a alcoholic addiction. Like they think that by drinking alcohol, like and all the senses could be numb, and they think that they're free of woes. But as soon as the intoxication is gone, so those are back again. So so and also same thing like, and many people who are involved in the discussion of money, stock markets, careers, sports, but no time for Krishna consciousness. So we all like so much conditioned because the way we came from the previous lives, samskaras and all that stuff. So only way to get out of them is like to develop the positive habits. Like if you wanted to get rid of a bad habit, I think if we go to any like counselors, so generally the suggestions what they give is to not to restrain from the old habit, but slowly try to replace that with a better habit, like for a higher taste, which Prabhupada always talks about. That would help us get out of those unwanted habits or asat kata, like slowly. So, and as we all know that Prabhupada gave us and a simple 4-step process for the daily activity for all the devotees. One is that associate with devotees, and hearing is uh, very important. So keep the good company and hear about Krishna Katha. And the second one is the daily Bhagavatam. Even one page or small reading would take a long way. And then chant the names attentively, because the chanting is the cleansing process for us from the Asat Katha. Yeah, in the second verse of, I guess, Sikshastakam, Nam Namakari Bahoda Nijasaro Saktis. So just by reading it, it cleanses the heart, and there are many names which are given for us to chant. And then replace the nonsense talk or the gossips with or good, inspiring, and nourishing for the mind kind of stories like Krishna Katha, or hearing stories about Vaishnavas. And so, yeah, with that, like we would be able to get out of uh, desire to get intensely interested in Asat Katha than developing interest to hear Krishna Katha. Yeah, with that, I'll conclude. And please forgive me if I spoke anything incorrectly because of my limited knowledge. With that, I would appreciate if anyone can share their thoughts or correct me if I did anything wrong. Thank you. Harishna Lakshmikant Prabhuji. So it's 8:05. Maybe we can close down the call. Vanchakalpatarupyascha kripasindhupyayo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Wish you all happy Krishna conscious day. Thank you. Hare Krishna.